Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you all doing? Okay, today we are going to start section 1 as I discussed earlier with you. We are going to start with the topic social reformers. And the first social reformer that we are going to discuss is Shah Waliullah. Now, Shah Waliullah from 1703 till 1762. I hope you all have your textbooks with you. Please kindly keep your exercise books also with you. Or if you're not writing in your exercise books, keep sticky notes. So some pointers important are there, then you can easily write on them and stick on your textbook with Shah Waliullah topic, right? So you don't miss onto anything. And if something is not in the book and I'm giving you that thing, you have that material with you. Please kindly keep everything with you. We're moving ahead. Okay, by the end of the topic, you will know the efforts that were made by the social reformers in the revival of Islam in the subcontinent. How things went wrong, how they observed that the community is being distorted. So they came to bring everyone together and follow Islam the way they should, because there was a great dip in the life of the people of the subcontinent. And the dip that was there, it was because of certain things that were happening around them. So when they observed that, they started working on those flaws and reminded the Muslims of the subcontinent that where they are going wrong, so they can improve their life and their self-respect is gained. Moving ahead. For a while, just take a gap as Azan is going on. Okay. Now, introduction. Shah Waliullah. Now, as I said, that soon you will learn by the end of the topic that what work was done by him and how his efforts made us better and how his efforts helped us gain Pakistan in the end. Now, if you see that whenever things have happened, see history-wise, history witnessed that whenever the enemies of Islam have created problems to crush it, God sends His pious persons to defend Islam. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala will never leave us. Whenever things will go wrong, whenever we will feel that, whenever Muslims, whenever Islam will be under threat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to send someone to get the Muslims back on track. Or something is going to happen that we will realize and we are going to come back to that. Recent time, see this pandemic. we must have done something. Something must have gone wrong that this situation came, and we all have to sit home and think that what have we done that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so upset. At that time, people did something, or we were going wrong. Something happened that Shah Waliullah had to come back forward, and he had to take steps to revive Islam in the subcontinent, to bring back Muslims on the right track. We were forgetting our values. We were forgetting what we are, and we were following the footsteps of other people's religion. We were mixing Islam and other religion together, which brought the downfall of the Muslims. Shah Waliullah is also one of these pious people who supported Muslims and their beliefs in a very critical situation. He even stood against the corrupt Mughal government in 18th century, which was very risky task. Why was it risky? Because the Mughal Empire was at its peak, going against the Mughals, talking against the people who are in power. Definitely and obviously, you all know that it is very risky for a person. They can do anything to you. You cannot stand against people who are in power. They're in so much power that they can do anything to you. But he took those chances for the Muslims because he could not see the downfall of the Muslim. He not only reformed the religious, economic, political, social conditions of the Muslim, but he even tried to make us understand and try to put down the Marathas who were trying to, you know, trying their level best to finish the Muslim empire, finish the Mughal empire. They wanted to take over the Mughal empire. They wanted to crush, the right word would be crush, the Muslims. Because they did not like them, the Marathas, the Jats, the Sikhs, they wanted to take over the Mughal empire because they wanted to rule the Muslims of the subcontinent. Because if you look back into history, Prophet ﷺ, after him, the Muslims were ruling and they kept on ruling. Centuries Muslims have been in power, and it was the dream of the other religion, of other religious beliefs, that they wanted to rule the Muslims. Especially if you talk about the Marathas, the Hindus, the Sikhs, the Jats, they wanted to rule the Muslims. They were getting the opportunity. They were trying their level best. Now, if we do not follow our beliefs and we are not following the norms properly, definitely a downfall is there. And they were taking undue advantage of the Muslims at this point. So Shah Waliullah came forward and he tried to put down the Marathas also. Now Shah Waliullah was born on 21st Feb, 14th of Shawwal, in a respectable family. He, at a very young age, had the knowledge of Quran, fiqh, tasawwuf, hadith. At a very young age, he studied in Madrasa Rahimia. This madrasa belonged to his father, and in this madrasa, many people, many reformers were there, and one of them was Sayyid Ahmad Shahid Bareilly. Haji Shariatullah belonged to the Hanafi fiqh. He was a scholar. He had written books in which he had guided the Muslims, and his books are used till date. Till date, we study Shah Waliullah's books written on Islamic laws. He died in 1762. Now, if we talk about his education, he, as I told you, he studied in Madrasa Rahimia. He was a Hafiz. He learned Quran by heart. He knew a hadith of the Prophet. He learned them. A tafsir of the Quran was at the back of his hand. Islamic laws, he knew about different schools of thought, and he guided us according to that. What Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, Imam Hanbal, what they said about these laws, how they looked into the laws in the Quran. He had all that knowledge, and he guided the Muslims according to that. He translated the Quran into Persian. He studied Arabic and Persian grammar so he can guide the Muslims. Especially, see, Arabic he knew because it is the language of the book. But what about Persian? It was the language of the time. It was the language of the day. At those days, Persian was spoken and understood by people. So he studied that. He had knowledge of, he knew philosophy, metaphysical, judiciary. He knew all that so well that he helped students in Madrasa Rahimia. He taught them everything. So we get good, knowledgeable students. And then, Muslims need to understand and educate their children. We should not be limited to Quran. See, we should know Quran very well, but at the same time, we should study different subjects also. So you are updated and you are able to work in every field of life. After his father's death, he took over Madrasa Rahimia, and for 12 years he taught there. He went for Hajj. He stayed there for good 8 years. There he studied the Hadith under the scholars like Hazrat Abu Tahir, Taj ad-Din al-Qali. He was under them. He studied. He wrote books, and he went through good books. He informed about the situation to them, to the people in Saudi. He informed them about the situation that was going on in the subcontinent and what the Muslims were going through in these states. So they guided him, and then he had a dream. He had a dream that he should go back and he should uplift the morale of the Muslims of the subcontinent. So he went back and he tried to do better for the Muslims of the subcontinent. Now, the condition of the subcontinent, known at that time also as India. Now, he was born 4 years before the death of Aurangzeb. So actually, you can say that he was there, and as he was growing up, he saw the decline, the suffering of the Muslim. After Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire was handed over to able successors. Now see, after Aurangzeb, we never got competent rulers. We never got those successors. They kept on fighting amongst each other for the throne, and they were not focusing on the empire. Now, due to which the Muslim community was going through several problems. And obviously, when so many different communities came and lived, and they were there in the subcontinent, so our culture got mixed up with different cultures. We had to face a lot of problem because of that. We forgot our own value. We forgot our own norms. And this was not something good. You drift away from your religion and your downfall bound to happen. It's a must. You are forgetting your own identity, what you are. What you are, if you forget that, then beta, definitely you're going to be nowhere in life. You should not forget what you are, who you are. You're a Muslim. Doesn't matter that you can be friends with a non-Muslim, you can go and live in another country, but you should not forget what you are. Just want to be with the people because and you want to be famous, you accept, you adopt things that are not supposed to be done by a believer. So you're trying to make people happy, but when you are not sincere towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are not sincere to anyone. You are following other people culture, norms, religious belief to make them happy, and you're forgetting what you are. So how can they will also not trust you? They will also think that if you cannot be of the one who created you, you believe in Allah, right? You're mixing your religion with other religion. You're forgetting your religious belief. Your downfall is there because you're away from your religion. They made you understand, they made you realize that. That spiritual confusion created political chaos. And that later resulted in the disintegration of the Muslim role in India. We lost our role because we forgot our norms, our culture, a tradition, a value. If you're going to forget that, obviously you're going to lose it, as well as impact upon the socio-economic spheres in the region. Everything got disturbed. Everything was affected because you don't know who you are. The officers and nobles of Humayun were doing interference, the foreign influence on puppet government. No understanding of Islam according to its proper meaning and spirit. Division in class status, astaghfirullah. In our religion, there's no division. We don't judge people according to status. We don't judge people according to class, color. If someone is a CEO and someone is a manager and someone is a peer, we don't make difference like that. We all are humans. This is what your religion teaches you, that we need to treat everyone equal. See, that line is different. A CEO is a CEO, is a manager is a manager. A peer is a peer. You're not going to discriminate them between them. Respect will be given to all. But here, what we were doing, we made status. Oh my God, as if they are something. These feudal lords, people started treating them like gods because these feudal lords, these zamindars, they were the main in charge and they were giving you the money. Excuse me, those people who pay you, who give you money, they're not your lords. If you're not going to work from them, how will they earn? You are the people. The farmers were the ones who were working on their lands day and night. That's why those crops were there. These zamindars, they were taking the money from there, were earning from there only, from their land. If farmers will not work on the land, What are these zamindars for? They would not be anything. So it's a chain. Everybody is respectable. Everybody, every profession. If you divide and you bring that division, then obviously status like feudal lords, poor people, and noble, these ranks. Sorry, this rank is here. It's rank. Okay, let me. Oh, oops, sorry. Sorry, because sometimes these things happen. And it's not. Different ranks are given to different people, and this is wrong. It should not be like that. Overlooking of the principles of the real Khilafat and kingship. We see what our Khilafat system, what the kingship has taught us. If you look back in your past, say history, if you look back in your past, if you look back Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the way he was a leader, if you look at the Khilafat system, if you look at the Sultan, sultans and the rulers that were there, right? The Umayyad dynasty. If you see them, the way they ruled, the way the leaders were, look at the Khilafat of Umar Raziallah Ta'ala anhu. Look at the Khilafat of Abu Bakr Raziallah Ta'ala anhu, Hazrat Usman Raziallah Ta'ala, Hazrat Ali Raziallah Ta'ala. The leaders they would sit with the people. They would eat with the people. They would be with the people. They would fight. They would go with them. There was not like, oh my God, Umar Raziallah Ta'ala is coming and people would stand. No. You see what Umar Raziallah Ta'ala used to say, that if even a dog dies thirsty at the bank of river Euphrates, I am answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And look at now, people are suffering, people are hungry, people are dying, they don't have food, people don't have jobs, they commit suicide. And look at the government. It's not, we are talking about just Pakistan, you look at everywhere in the world. Leaders are not supposed to be like that. Leaders are not supposed to be like living in, huge mansions and people, they don't have house to live. Same, equal, we all are equal. When you change things, sufferings will come. Then sectarian conflicts. Now people here, even would do what? Now they want to create a drift between people. They want to create fight between people. So they will bring up sectarian differences. Why bother? We have got different groups. We have got different, see, Islam is one religion. And under Islam, there are different branches. People are following different. Now, who is right, who is wrong, it's not your doing. Whatever you are because you believe you are right. That's why you are following that sect. What I am, because I feel I'm right. That's why I'm following that sect. I studied. You study, you follow. You should not be bothered. You should not create a drift. You should not feel that the other person who is following other religious belief is inferior. No one is inferior. You are not superior. I'm not superior. No one is superior. We all are equal in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the third party, other countries, they find this weakness in us. Other people, they will find this weakness in you and they will try to make you fight with each other because they want to make you weak. And see, and look at us, we fight. What the sectarian difference? What Shias and Sunnis? What are Khanis? We all are Muslims. You are no one to say that a Shia is not a Muslim. You are no one to say that a Sunni is not a Muslim and a Afghani is not a Muslim. Look at yourself. You get connected to Allah. You are no one to say that someone is a kafir. You are no one. We are no one to call anyone anything. Just follow the path. Be a good human being. Do not lie. Do not cheat. Follow the full sunnah of our beloved Nabi. These people, they forgot. That's why our empire was taken away from us. Money obtained from the exchanger by those who do not perform any corresponding duties. Exploitation of merchants, farmers, and workers by heavy taxation. Look at it, Allahu Akbar. Everything that is wrong. Illegal money. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to be a part of something that you're not supposed to be? Something that does not belong to you does not belong to you. Why do you want to take that? Why you want to put heavy taxes on people and without any reason? If the government is going to be corrupt, if the government is going to do such things, definitely a downfall is going to be there. Because government will become corrupt, people will become corrupt, frustration is going to come, and we all are going to fight with each other. So are we going to land up somewhere? Are we going to be successful? No. Now, he brought in different reforms. His religious reform, social reforms, political reforms, and economic reforms. So I'm going to discuss his religious reforms today with you all. And in the next class, I'm going to discuss his social, political, and economic reforms. Now let's talk about the crusade against sectarianism. Shias and Sunnis, the entire Muslim community was integrated and the nobles had been grouped into two parties of Turani and Sirani, which were affecting the innocent people. Shah Waliullah Okay, now instead of reading, when I would not read it, I'm going to explain. Everything is written in your books also. Take it? So I'm not reading it from here, but I'm just giving you what he did, what was his religious work. Take it? Now, if you talk about all this religious work, okay, we start from here. Now, he said to the people that do not divide yourself in sectarian groups. Why you think that Shias and Sunnis are different? This time when we are going through so much, do not divide yourselves. Okay? Do not divide yourself because wait, let me do the correction here. Okay. Do not divide yourself because people are going to take undue advantage of this difference and they're going to take over your land from you. Now, when they will take over your land from you, you will be nowhere. So do not fight over these issues. Then he wrote books about the four caliphs in such a way that the Shias and the Sunnis about the four caliphs, right? In such a way, sorry for my handwriting. Okay, that the Shias and the Sunnis, they agreed. He said, why? Why divide yourself? Why are you focusing on small things? Be one. This is the time that you need to be united. And then when they talked about the four caliphs and both the Shias and the Sunnis, they agreed upon it. So the drift ended. ठीक है. Then he wrote books. Izzatul Khalifa. See, he writes here the misunderstanding between the Shias and the Sunnis. This book which he wrote, Izzatul Khifa, it was about the four caliphs in such a way that the Shias and Sunnis, they agreed. He said irrational tolerance because it's the heart is missing. You're not supposed to fight over things. Agree upon things. Look at the situation. The third party will come and will create a drift between. Then he translated the Quran into Persian. Now, when he translated the Quran into Persian, again, the ulamas had a problem. The ulamas, they said that why did you do that? There were so many problems that they came up. Now, he said to the ulamas that the Quran is not your property. He said the Quran belongs to each and every individual. I understand. We need ulamas. Why we need ulamas? Because we are not so well read. So we don't understand much. And for many things, we need the ulamas to clarify things for us. But that does not mean that you do not read the Quran with tafsir. At that time, Persian was the language. So he translated Quran into Persian so everyone should know about the jurist right. He said every citizen should know about their jurist. The word jurist is very important. You should know and you have to use this word in your answers. Jurist rights. Now, you should know about these rights because if you're not going to know what are your rights, then how will you know what is right and wrong? How would you know what is legal and what is illegal? Huh? How would you know that? As a Muslim, you should know Quran very well. You should study Quran. Shah Waliullah emphasized on the fundamentals of Quran. He made you understand. He said, now see what will happen. When you will not understand Quran now, when you will not read Quran, when you will not understand Quran, and I am the ulama of, okay, I understand Quran. You will come up to me and you will say, I do not understand this. Can you tell me? I will tell you. I will tell you my perception. And if I'm a fanatic and, you know, I give you strong lines and I tell you this is not right and this is not right. See, there are certain things which are mentioned in Quran and which are fixed and we cannot change. No, we can't. But Islam is very simple. Some people have made it very difficult. If you are not going to understand Quran, you need to understand. Our people did not understand at that time. There were few people who understood Quran. So they were giving their perception. It is possible they understood wrong. They gave their perception and we were following blindly. There are many laws in the Quran. There are many things in Quran. We need to understand that. It's very simple. It's a complete code of life. So he introduced the people once again to the main sources of Islamic doctrine and law. In order to make it understandable to all, he translated Quran into Persian language that was literary language at that time. So we understand. Now see, because he was well versed in fiqh. What is fiqh? Laws. Now we need to understand laws. If we do not understand laws, then how are we going to follow the Sharia? Sorry, this is like I have to erase it. Eraser. No, eraser. How? Okay, this is Q. Okay, fiqh. Fiqh is Islamic law. Okay, I'm bad at writing. Sorry, huh? I'm very bad at writing with this pen. It is fiqh, Islamic law. F. Again, I'm writing so you don't get confused. Q and H. Islamic law. Now, you see, there are many laws. In Quran, it is written. Now, we have got different schools of thought. We have got 4 schools of thought. Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali. He said to all of them, why are you fighting over small things? At one point, we all agree with the same. There's some simple, different procedures. So this, he said, why do you fight over these things? Why are you dividing yourself? See, in Pakistan, we follow Hanafi. So people here are Hanafis. In Makkah, people follow Imam Shafi. So they are Shafis. So is it different? We have got Hanafis, we have got Hanbalis, we have got Malikis. We are all one. You know, I will give you a very simple example here. In Quran, it is written, stealing men and women to cut their hands. Now, one school of thought says that stealing men and women to cut their hands. Now, cutting off the hands is your fingers. Okay, beta? These are your fingers which will be chopped if you are caught stealing. Now, what is the difference? That we all follow the same. But one school of thought says that if you find someone stealing once, you're going to cut the fingers of the left hand. Take it down. Second time, if you catch them, you cut the fingers of the right hand. Fourth time, you chop the fingers of the feet, one left, then the other one right. Okay, we are cutting. The other school of thought says that first time if you get hold of them, you cut the 4 fingers of your left. Then you cut the fingers of the feet. Then third time again hand, and fourth time again feet. And we are cutting fingers. We're chopping them. We're cutting the hands, right? So why you are fighting? Why are you dividing yourself? One school of thought says that you cut the fingers and you also apply law of snatching here. That is, that even if the person who has stolen something, right? Like for example, I give you example of the sanitizer. I've got this here, right? If this has been stolen and I stole it, if I'm caught, my fingers will be cut, my hands will be cut. But at the same time, if I have used this or if I've lost it, I have to pay the money of it. So, one school of thought says that when you're punishing the person, then why you want this? But the other school of thought says, okay, we agree if I have this, we give it back. But if I don't have it, I don't have to pay the money. But one school of thought says that you pay the money if you have lost it or if you have used it. It is one and the same, right? But this is the difference. Do we have to fight over this difference? He said, don't fight over this. Come to the same wavelength. Focus that we have to cut the hands. Okay. Then he said that the hadith. Why are you fighting over the hadith of Rasulullah? Pick up the authentic hadith. Talk about them. Focus on that. Don't fight over things. Then, what he said, see, we have got Sufis and we have got ulamas. He said, don't create a drift between the Sufis and the ulamas. Shah Waliullah tried to finish this drift. He urged for the reforms of Sufism and not its rejection. He said, we are not denying, but come to the same platform. So you see, beta, actually the problem comes in when people see that how in one religion people are dividing themselves and they're talking about different things, and we have got different groups, we become weak. See, if we are together like this, nobody can break us. But if we are divided, it's easy to break us. So he said, don't get yourself divided. See, tasawwuf, the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, why are you making people sit on higher platforms? Oh my God, he is someone, and you sit in their feet. You feel that if you're going to go to someone, if it will make them make dua for you, you give them such status, and that they forget their own self, and they started thinking about themselves very high. In our religion, we are not supposed to do that. We have got examples of our prophets, of our scholars, great time, of our khalifas. Then why? By giving an Islamic interpretation to the Sufi doctrine, Shah Waliullah removed the distaste which the ulama had felt for Sufism and the Sufis. Therefore, not only bridged the gulf between the Sufis and the ulamas, but also harmonized the differences prevalent among the different sects of Sufis. We're not supposed to do that. He said, come down. Don't think high of yourself. Equal. Ulamas are here, Sufis are here, Sufis are here, ulama. No, you all are equal. Forget about the differences. Get connected with Allah. The Sufis connect with Allah. Ulamas connect with Allah. They've got their different approaches, their ways of connecting. If I've got my way of connection with Allah, and you've got your way of connection with Allah, it doesn't mean that you are better than me or I'm better than you. No, we all are same. We should not, discriminate between each other. He wrote books. Izzatul Balagha, Hajjatul Balagha, Izzatul Aqa. He wrote those books, and those books, in one of the books was the commentary of the Quran, the tafsir of the Quran, fundamental principles of the Quran, the summary of the Quran. He made it clear. He wrote 28 books in Persian and 23 books in Arabic. He wrote 51 books to make people understand. He established a school for the study of hadith, in which he has left behind several works, including an Arabic and Persian commentaries on Mu'adha, the well-known collection of traditions of the prophets compiled by Imam Malik. See, he was a Hanafi. He belonged to the Hanafi school of thought. He compiled by Imam Malik Rahmatullah alayh. He attached great importance to the collection of traditions. Traditions means ahadith by Imam Malik, even greater than those of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. See here, Sahih Bukhari, the most authentic book after Quran that we follow. Imam Muslim, Imam Abu Dawood, Imam Tirmizi. A hadith that is written, you will find in bracket agreed upon. That agreed upon means it is the most authentic. Sahih Bukhari never wrote any weak ahadith in his book. If he would find any weakness anywhere, he would not take that hadith. Reintroduce ijtihad. At that time, it had been established by the orthodox circles that after the final Islamic law by the four great jurists, the door of interpretations were closed. Now, what happened here? That people thought that Imam Hanafi, Imam Shafi, Imam Hanbal, after that, they just said that nothing, no interpretation. See, interpretation in what sense we are talking about? Not changing anything, but this explanation, the way you explain, the way you interpret, the way you tell. He opened that door. He said, Ishtihad is there. You need to sit, study, find out solutions. Okay? So, Hajjatul Balagha, as I explained, that he wrote 51 books, Hajjatul Balagha and Izzatul Aqafa, 28 in Persian and 23 in Arabic. Okay, now here he said to the people, okay, I discussed Quran, Hadith, Tasawwuf, Fiqh. His religious work, we discussed about the sectarian differences. His religious work was the most important of his work. He believed that if you drift away from your religion, the downfall is going to be there. So, inshallah, in the next class, I'm going to start with his social reforms. So, you go through his religious reforms. You have your textbooks with you. You go through the reforms. If you have any question, please do ask. And then I'm going to do the recap in the next class. And then further, I'm going to discuss his social, political, and economic reforms in the next class. So see you all, inshallah, in the next class. Thank you all. Okay. Keep yourself safe. Allah Hafiz.